My long-term followers know that I talk about toxic metaframing. There is a chapter in my free book about toxic metaframing, and most people, including spiritual people, there's a lot of toxic metaframers. About 80 to 90% of people are toxic metaframers. In general, they're toxic and narcissists, either one of them or both of them. And toxic metaframing is very simple to explain. It's basically when one person to the other person directly says or does something to put them down. It's not related to public people, and it's not related to public opinions. What it's related more is like a direct intent to put someone else down. So I explained this in my book. I have to check if I have all the details of it in there, but it's basically, if I told you you're dumb, or you told me I'm dumb, that would be a simple verbal direct toxic metaframe. And there's 4 types of toxic metaframes, and if you understand toxic metaframing, you can recognize toxic people within a few minutes of meeting them, or within the first conversation. And like I said, 80 to 90% of people are toxic metaframers. And where this coming from? This comes from libido suppression. This is where you don't have joy or sexuality in some form of sexual energy in your life, or vitality in your life. And because of that, you project, and you're unconscious, so you project your unhappiness onto someone else, either your partner, or if you're afraid to do with your partner, you find someone on the internet. And when I see toxic metaframes, and it's not surprising, like in the comments, you will always see some toxic metaframers. And the more authentic you are, and the more harsh you kind of communicate truth, the more you're going to have toxic metaframers, because they're looking. It's almost like 90% of souls out there that are unhappy are looking for a projection. It's like they're a loaded gun looking for a way to shoot, you could almost say. And they're not going to shoot on children, but they're going to shoot on people that they dislike. Kind of like that, you know? So it's basically, the toxic metaframer is a libido suppressed person, usually male, sometimes women, who runs around with a loaded gun, kind of like that, and with an infinite amount of shells, with ammunition, believing that the more they shoot, they will feel better. And the kind of initial first response, psychoenergetic responses, they feel better because they release that tension, but it never really goes away, so they keep on shooting. It's actually a very good analogy, and I should use that in my book. And yeah, once you understand toxic metaframing, read my whole free book. It's in my links. Then you will understand it. It literally changes your whole understanding of personal communication and relationships. And when I see people, for example, when I speak about someone like Darius J. Wright, and I get negative comments, but not just negative comments, but toxic metaframes. By the way, oh my god, I have to put this in the book. This one I forgot. There is certain techniques that narcissists and toxic metaframers use. By the way, a narcissist is a continuous toxic metaframer. So that toxic metaframers use is they try to argument, often in almost like a logical, scientific way, but in the end they say, you're the idiot. So this is what I see a lot. Like, this is the typical narcissist way of argumenting, when they write like 2 or 3 or 4 paragraphs on YouTube comments, and you already know they're a nutcase, because who writes 5 paragraphs on YouTube? It's like you can see how they get emotional and attached, and then at the very end says, well, your mind, your heart, everything is closed, so So you should open it up, or something like that. So it's very, very, it's like, you know, when it's almost like you've reached, by understanding toxic metaframing on a deep level, it's almost like you reached another level of seeing through all bullshit of interpersonal communication, because people like talk back and forth in normal like relationships or any kind of communication, and I see like through the structure of it, like the way they're structuring things, it tells me about their libido empowerment or libido suppression level, about their own like traumas. It tells me like literally in one like paragraph I can see the whole spiel, kind of what's going on within them. And it's crazy because there's so many libido suppressed people. And I feel like this is, at least in my view, for my life, is I'm learning to, and I have like a way of life, a lifestyle design, where I boost my libido empowerment. And you cannot deal with other people. If you deal too much with other people, they will constantly pull you down. It will be continuous pulling down. So you have to do and this is, I talk about in the book as well, you have to do the lifestyle design, where you create your life and just ignore other people in that sense, unless they completely match that frequency that you're going on. And toxic metaframers, and you know, the thing is that almost everybody is like that. They're like on the first level of consciousness. They haven't even advanced a little bit, because they've never learned it anywhere. And even if they learned it, they would ignore it because their narcissism is too dense. It's crazy.